time. And this meeting is now being live streamed. So welcome to Break the Trance, which is the title for this new series that Albert Nierenberg and myself, Cassandra McLean, are doing to bring awareness to the reality that there are very powerful individuals, but institutions and organizations that are using fundamental principles of hypnosis and trance work to manipulate the masses. And you and I, we're the masses. And these very powerful, very intelligent, and highly educated organizations and institutions are in fact manipulating us. We have to be aware of that. And with that awareness and with some instruction from some well-trained professional hypnotists and hypnotherapists, we can break that trance and reclaim our sovereignty and self-governance, which is important now more than ever. So what do you think about all that, Albert?
I concur. I think some of this is that it's not always a plot. Sometimes it's accidental. Sometimes it's that we go into trances because social media is training us to. But it is important to break the trance to get your brain back, to get your sovereignty back, as you said. And we can. So that's part of the idea of break the trance to help people do that. This is both tips, applications, and today I think we're focusing on mindset. Mindset is a really crucial thing, and that mindset can actually change. We gave this sort of interesting example. Should I talk about the Olympics? Is that all right?
Well, why don't you first, let's define what we mean when we say mindset. It's kind of a buzzword. People are, oh, mindset, gotta work your mindset coaching. But what is mindset? Does it simply mean the mood that I'm in, or what is it?
So often when people face a challenge, they may be aware or they may not be aware that they have an exact mindset about how they view that challenge. I often work with people who have medical challenges, meaning they have to have an operation or a special, or a procedure or something like that. And they, the mindset part of it is just that they may have an idea in their head that these things don't work out for me, or things could go bad, or it might be a disaster. And that itself is the mindset. And when you actually ask the person, have procedures gone badly for you, or have had a surgery actually gone wrong, you find out the answer is no. It's never happened to them. And so they actually have the wrong mindset for the situation. And using trance work or hypnotherapy, they can correct their mindset and turn it into a winning mindset for that scenario. So that's an example. How would you use mindset?
How would I define mindset? Well, when I think mindset, I think of what we call meta programs in NLP. So it's kind of the container that is holding all your thoughts, or the frame around all your other thoughts. It's also creating what those thoughts are. And it takes quite a bit of mental cognitive work to become aware of what your meta programs or your mindset even is. You might think it's one thing, but you might be mistaken or simply aspirational in your self-reflection. This is something that I'm guilty of. I'm aspirationally identifying with my aspirational self. And that's problematic because you also have to be real with yourself and where you're at in order to move forward. You can't go forward to the next place if you don't even know where you are. So for me, mindset has more to do with what is the bigger thought that I'm having that's containing the experience and defining it.
I like that. And it reminds me of a sacred NLP principle that if you don't have a plan, the theory is the universe makes plans for you. So when you go into something that is high pressure or matters to you, it is really worth it to have a plan on multiple levels. And that we know that from our work that makes a big difference in outcomes.
Right. So let's combine these two ideas. We have this reality that, hey, don't forget, you are being, we are being, I am, you are, all of us are being manipulated with hypnotic devices in the hands of the evil overlords who are now being exposed to us for what they really are: child-eating pedophiles and monsters. And we need to break free from the trance that we're under, where we're also like inundated with this horror. It's a horror show, which makes us more paralyzed, in which case we're even more influenceable because we're in this like paralytic state of like, I can't believe how dark and sick, like the darkness just, it just gets darker and darker and darker when you go down the rabbit hole. So how does having how do we have the right mindset about processing the reality that the world's most powerful leaders, authorities, resource controllers are sick, dark, twisted, fucked, fucked up people. The worst of the worst. Soulless and heartless and cruel to
And
little children just because they can be, let alone like, oh, with greed, they're greedy and they're taking the money from the poor. Yeah, that's regular fucked up.
Yeah.
This is
Super fucked up.
20x different fucked up. And what kind of mindset can we have to deal with that and not process it by being like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming, but I can remember to breathe. No, we need to be empowered and say, fuck no. This is not how the world is going to be run. No. What's the right mindset for that? What do you think, Albert?
Oh, here, Albert, what's the mindset to fix the Epstein
well,
scenario?
I have my answers. But we're here with dialogue.
Okay, well, let me take you back. Yes, you sort of look. You said that the people in control are deliberately maneuvering, structuring reality in a way that for their benefit and not for ours. And one really good example of that is how this whole thing started with Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, and probably Pam Bondi, saying that that there's nothing to see here, that there were no real Epstein files. It didn't describe a criminal situation, and there's nothing to be upset about. And the latest one is also that it fully exonerates Donald Trump, which is actually like a hypnotic suggestion, which is it does nothing of the kind. There's no evidence it does anything like that. But if you make the suggestion that it does, that has a certain power. So,
and the repetition.
Right, and the repetition of the same message. And now, one thing that's really crucial to say about this is that we are another podcast or video telling people, mentioning the Epstein files, is that there's something to know about your brain that is very simple and very powerful. That your brain is actually designed to hold one thing at a time. Meaning, yes, you can be very upset and troubled by what's come out in the Epstein files, and you can be extremely troubled and maybe traumatized by what you are hearing and seeing about. But it is really important that you protect your peace, that you not take it too far, not go to bed with some of these horrible things in your mind, that it is, to renew the fight kind of in the morning. Now, the reason I say that is when people are demoralized, disgruntled, or lose hope, it's because the imagery of the opposition is overwhelming. That it seems like the story of how powerful people can just use and destroy people at will, can make people disappear at will, and that we are just cannon fodder for the rich. That story is, of course, demoralizing, even if it's true. Even if it's true. However, we are free to make a whole other story in our minds. And that is what you call an intervention.
What other story are we going to make out of this?
I've always wanted to talk about the Olympics because it is the Olympics right now, and it's just like a great metaphor. So let me just, if you don't mind. So it's a classic example. So the miracle on ice. In 1980, the American team, which was basically a bunch of amateur hockey players, was facing an overwhelming enemy. The Soviet team at the time was considered to be the best hockey team in the world, and it was almost as if the Americans had no chance. But famously, they used mindset work. First of all, they were trained to really believe in each other and the truth of their internal experiences, like we are enjoying each other's company, we're playing well, we're succeeding, we're scoring goals. And by doing that, they actually vanquished against impossible odds the Russian team. And that's what created the miracle on ice. And intriguingly, that might happen again. The same scenario is shaping up where the American Olympic hockey team is facing the Canadian Olympic hockey team probably in 2 or 3 days with similar odds, where everybody thinks the Canadian team is favored. They're statistically the far better team, and the Americans would seem to have no chance. The only way the Americans can win is with mindset. That's the only way. So that's why mindset matters. Um, so how do you get there? What is mindset? Well, first of all, I mean, it goes to classic, kind of hypnotic strategies, which is visualization. If you see the enemy is omnipotent, huge, enormous, and let's go back to the Epstein files. If you see the track of history favoring the powerful and the rich, and us being consumed, or regular people, or nobodies, and we're a bunch of peasants, then the image that you have in your mind is overwhelming. But let me give you another image. There's a guy who was in the Ford plant when Donald Trump was touring it a few weeks ago, and he just said 2 words. He yelled them, but he yelled 2 words at Donald Trump, and they were pedophile protector. And what's interesting is this is some guy in a Ford plant. Those words have now echoed around the world. Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are now using that expression, that the GOP is a party of pedophile protectors, that Donald Trump is definitely a pedophile protector, if not a pedophile himself, and that people who align with those people are naturally pedophile protectors. Those were 2 words. I'm looking at this as an example of the power of imagery and words. Those were just 2 words yelled, maybe emotionally, by a guy in a Ford plant, and it worked, and it's got momentum, and it continues to have momentum. So that's an example of how mindset. I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen. And that guy, actually, the other twist of the story is that guy got rich, because after he was threatened, he got kicked out of the plant. There was a huge GoFundMe, and he got, I don't remember the amount of money, you can look it up. He's now pretty wealthy thanks to him uttering 2 words.
All right. That's a lot on a lot of different topics.
Yeah, I know. I know people are going to say, wait, but the Olympics are sort of the height of human achievement, and the Epstein files are the height of human
Depravity.
depravity. Exactly.
Sure. I'm going to just return my focus in this conversation to what I think is most important for us to share, as we are here for a reason, which is to transmit value to anyone who might say, hey, I'm going to tune in and hear what Cassandra and Albert are speaking about today. And just to put a finer point on it, we know as professionals in subconscious programming when it's happening, whether it be deliberately or just by coincidence or some alignment of forces beyond our control, or the evil overlords. It could be for any reason, but when some hypnotic phenomena is taking place and people en masse are falling into whatever's being slathered over our minds, we want to wake up from that. We want to break the trance. And if you now choose to develop awareness of mindset and mindset work as a self-protection mechanism, it will reinforce your inherent power and the human right of our freedom to choose the world that we live in and the lives that we inhabit. And when you're better connected to that natural birthright of, I have a say here, and I have power. We are all inherently and intrinsically powerful beings. And we've been weakened and forced into submission and crippled and belittled by so many factors. And for those of us who that was coming from mom and dad when I'm 4, all the way up through the parents, my teachers, my principal, the government, the organizations. There's just so much oppression happening on even like the most, not even the worst of people who've got it bad. We still have it bad because we've been oppressed and belittled and made small. And I really firmly believe, as a professional hypnotherapist, that my real job is to empower people, empower your soul. Like, hello, you have to wake up and fight for your right to live a life that you can love because you have the power to choose that. And when people wake up to it, it's like, I'm just waking up something that's within you. You don't even have to choose to believe it. It's there. It's real. It's like, did you ever realize you have, I don't know, a right pinky toe? We weren't thinking about it, but just put some attention over on your right pinky toe. You have one of those. That's real. That's part of you. I don't need to convince you of it. It's there. I'm just bringing your attention to your right pinky toe. There's a seed of power within each and every heart and mind where we have the right define our world collectively and democratically. And that needs to be brought attention to and woken up. And then from there, we can enforce a powerful mindset of we are powerful and we are not going to take this oppression anymore. And then we can break the trance en masse. But an individual cannot do the level of collective work that we need to be in community and in collection to accomplish. So we need to do all of that. And we need to do it now.
If I can simplify, even, I would say what you're talking about is being real Americans. I'm not an American, so I know, but I know that the original spirit of America, of course, is freedom. Every person, they used to say every man counts, but every person counts, and that even the lowest person matters is supposed to matter in America, and that is actually significant now. I was saying, as observers of America from the outside have noticed famously that Americans are supposed to be tough. Americans are supposed to be freedom loving. Americans are not supposed to be, pedophile protectors. And but yet here we are. Americans are not being tough. They're actually being wimpy. They're having a secret police installed. They're having their powers taken away. Their government is being looted. Their wealth is being looted by an incredibly corrupt government, and they're just watching from the sidelines. And I know there's plenty of people who are doing stuff, and there's plenty of people who are standing up, but on average, Americans are not standing up.
That's right.
And if I could tell like one very quick story, is that just as a weird insight, that there was a famous phenomena. I don't know why I have some expertise in this area, but I know about Argentinian history. And Argentina had a terrible dictatorship, police dictatorship. And what was interesting about it is they used to ask the people, wonder why people were so docile. And one thing that came up was there was a phenomena was called cop in the head. The police were so powerful, and the police state was so powerful, that they installed cops in effect in people's heads, where people really thought they couldn't do a bunch of things and they couldn't say a bunch of things, and there didn't need to be a cop around, or they didn't need to know there were police for them to feel that.
Mm.
When the dictatorship fell, people still had cop in the head because
That's right.
they had been trained. Now, what's intriguing is that America is having cops installed in their heads right now, and a lot of people are taking it, and a lot of people are supporting it, which is crazy. And that is a psychological phenomena more than it is sometimes a physical or military phenomena. But these things are happening right around us. That's why I appreciate your theme of like, wake up, because
we need to break the trance, and we can use hypnosis and hypnotic skill to actually break the trance that we don't want to be under and choose the trance that we do want to be under, where we are powerful, conscious creators of our lives and our reality. You want to be hypnotized to be like, I'm a powerful spirit and I'm fighting the good fight and my voice matters. You want to be hypnotized by that. You don't want to be letting your eyes scroll through images of depravity, called the Epstein files. Like I did it, I've been falling into that pit where it's like it says like extremely graphic content, beware. And I'm like, don't click it, Cassandra, don't click it, don't click it. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I just want to know what it says. And this is like one thing, like one thing. And it's so horrific. And it immediately is in my brain for days. And I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it and I'm sickened by it. And I'm physically ill. And I feel like mentally ill and physically ill by having consumed something so poisonous, which is simply the reality of what these people have been doing for so long with no recourse, without being held to account. And to this day, nobody is in prison. What the fuck? So what we're
Well,
talking about is
there's
activating
one
the
woman in prison. Yeah.
American spirit.
Yeah. What
The
happened to the American
American
spirit?
spirit, a true patriot, says,
Yeah.
not fucking here. I'm
Yeah.
going to get on my horse and grab my gun and come shoot you motherfuckers. That's the real American spirit. Not,
Or what about
I'm going to go online and be like, this is terrible. I don't know what to do.
what
No,
happened
you're
to
going to get out
I'm
of your
sick
house and fight.
what happened to I'm sick and tired and not taking it anymore. There's such a history of healthy revolt, particularly in America, but in a lot of places, which is, because and right back to the original American Revolution. It's supposed to be a country that doesn't accept kings, doesn't accept dictators. This is what we call in hypnotherapy, we call resourcing. We would say to somebody, remember who you are. America, remember who you are. We're doing hypnotherapy on America right now.
America, remember who you are.
Who you are.
America.
You're
What is it
revolution.
to be an American?
Yeah, you
Fucking
don't get pushed
revolutionary
around.
at heart.
You stand up for yourself. You don't abide kings. You are not peasants. You stand for, and you do not allow the exploitation. You don't allow crime. You don't allow murder. You don't allow the elites to ride roughshod over everyone else. That's America.
That is
And
America.
so, I mean, a better way of doing it with hypnotherapy is we'd ask America to remember who America is and let them see it, feel it, embody it, and
Yeah.
then take action.
I love it. I mean, let's see what we can do on a bigger level to actually deliver what you just described to people. And of course, that would be free of charge because I mean, I just want to help. That I think is really essential to the good guys winning this horrific battle of good versus evil that's unfolding in America right now. We
You,
need
you,
to remember what it is to be an American. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what,
Yeah. We're fucking fighters.
you know why what you're saying matters is that what I've noticed among progressive people is this tendency to be excessively dark, meaning people say we're done, we've lost, it's over, the bad guys have won, the dictator has won. First of all, they're not saying it with the full horror of the implications of what that would mean. Meaning, we're talking about concentration camps, we're talking about who knows what, mass murder, we're talking about environmental calamity on a scale that we haven't even seen yet. Those things those are really unimaginable. They haven't yet happened, although they're beginning to happen. So when people say, "Oh, there's nothing we can do, we're overpowered," as hypnotists, we know that is a mistake. You
That
can't.
is a mistake. That is correct. These fuckers need to be grabbed by the shoulders and shaken.
Yeah.
Everything is at stake. The stakes couldn't be higher. It's not
No.
only your survival, it's my survival,
No.
it's everybody you love and all of
Yeah.
posterity of the human race.
Yeah.
Anything you've ever valued or honored or found sacred or worthwhile, it's all at stake right now. And to throw in the towel this early in the game, well, we're cooked. Fucking
Yeah,
give
we're
me another
cooked.
styrofoam cup full of vodka. Might as well just kick it bucket
Yeah.
now. Then who are you?
Yeah.
You stand for nothing?
Yeah. There's a good meme going around right now, which is I could take a lot more pleasure in Trump driving the Republican Party off a cliff if it wasn't that we were all sitting in the back seat. And that's
Great,
true. And that
great.
applies even to other countries. That's why other countries are concerned because we know if America goes off a cliff, well, maybe we're going off a cliff too. Yeah. And or if America becomes a dictatorship, that's not good for anyone else.
No,
Uh, no.
yeah, that's a great point because it does mean that we have allies in the world, even if at the diplomatic level, the Trump regime has isolated the nation from our true allies. In another sense, it has not, because other nations are aware, okay, nations, countries last centuries, if not millennia. We probably don't have that, but we're so young to die such a sudden death would be kind of crazy, right? Americans, particularly, are not great at the long term vision. We're like, right here, right now, this is what it's about. And that's problematic. But other countries, because they have longevity, they are aware. You know, like one of the reasons that China is so formidable is because they're not even thinking about their grandchildren. They're like, for my great grandchildren, this is what it's going to be like. And they're working at that every day, every generation at a collective level. We don't fuck around like that. So it does make us more prone to a quick and sudden death, but it does seem too premature that we would die as a nation, you know, within 10 years.
Yeah. Yes. And people, again, there's another this other fatalistic point that people make, which is that, oh, democracies only last 200 or 300 years, so it just makes sense. Like, is again, if we look at it from the point of view of hypnosis or hypnotherapy, you would say the imagery that you hold in your mind and you repeat in your mind, and the more compelling and novel it is, the more it tends to come true. So if you have this imagery of that our government is, our country is going to collapse and we somehow deserve it, and then every other part of we can't stop ICE doing the right thing or whatever, you are creating the imagery in your mind which will bring that to fruition. And
Yeah.
here's the
So
thing.
stop it.
Stop it. That's called the pattern interrupt. Interrupt the pattern. So
Stop doing that.
yeah.
So what we need to do instead, we need to start having the spirit, the vision, the articulation, the embodiment of the American patriot that says, I'm not fucking sitting around and letting this happen.
You know what? That happened today, because today is when, or last night, the CBS told Stephen Colbert that he couldn't have a guest on his show. What is his name? The senator from Texas, or the guy's running for Senate in Texas,
Is it
was
Robert something?
Tallarico.
Yeah, love that guy.
Yeah.
Love him.
So,
I think it's
anyways,
James Tallarico.
yeah, James Tallarico. He was invited on a guest on Stephen Colbert. But here's the interesting thing. This is the part where, like, people might know what happened, which is that the network told Stephen Colbert, you cannot broadcast the interview with James Tallarico. So, and you can't even have him on your show. That's actually was told by lawyers working for CBS. Now, we know this. Networks are always chicken shit. They're always structural. They behave according to the institutional regime. And so they got orders from, I assume, the FCC or somebody like that, which brought the orders down. Lawyers, an army of lawyers literally came down on the Colbert show and said, you can't do it. But here's the amazing and truly American inspiring thing. Colbert said, no. He said no. He said, and this is interesting because, again, normally there's a game that everybody who's worked in television business knows, which is, are you somebody who knows how to play with the realities of the industry? And when you do something like you say, fuck off to the network, you're not playing well with the industry. And it can usually be a career killer. But we're in revolutionary times. And Colbert said no, and he put it's on YouTube, but the interview is there. It's good. The interview is there. You can see it. And he refused to
This is
go along with the
Colbert
network.
interviewing James Tallarico, who's
Yeah,
running
you can
for
find it.
Texas
But
Senate.
what I'm saying, what Colbert did is he was told he can't interview him. He did the interview. The network refused to broadcast it, but Colbert and I guess his people put it out on YouTube and other.
Independently
Yeah,
published it. That's
Right.
fantastic. Right. So that is an example of somebody being told, you are now being censored, you are now being oppressed, you are now being told you cannot. Perhaps you're being told this explicitly, as Colbert was, by the people who sign his paychecks, right? Or perhaps you're being told it by the cop in your head,
Cop in your head.
the police that the government has been installing into our minds psychologically to say you can't speak up. You should be safe. Don't go to the protests. Don't go out. It's dangerous out there. Don't get pulled over.
Don't be a
Anybody can come out
troublemaker.
and don't
Don't
be a
be,
troublemaker. Stay
yeah.
quiet. Stay hidden. Hide in your house. Hide behind your phone. Lock your doors. Don't go out. Don't listen to that.
You know what's interesting about
Get
that
out of
too?
your house.
We know those people. Like we all have people in our lives who say, "Well, I'd rather not get involved," or "I'd rather not." You know, it's not my place to.
I
I'm not
can't
really
tolerate that anymore. I
right.
cannot tolerate that anymore.
But
Somebody
we
will
under
go, I'm not getting involved with this. I'm like, then just go fucking lay down in a ditch and die. You won't fight for anything. That's how useless you want to be when the world is suffering. You won't even get involved in a conversation about it.
we what's interesting like is that we know what that effect is psychologically. That's called the bystander effect, which
Yeah.
is when something frightening is taking
Dangerous.
when something frightening is taking place, we our actual our mirror neurons line up with the mirror neurons of other people watching, and so bystanders will often witness something terrible take place and not intercede, not do something. However, you can easily change that, and I've studied this. You can look in my documentary, You Are What You Act, by having images of another action in your mind. So when you see somebody being hurt or bullied or exploited, you can run another movie. You don't, the movie doesn't have to be, well, I'm not getting involved, I'm going to go home and watch TV. The movie can be, I intercede in an effective and maybe even heroic way. And that's a much better movie for everybody's
Mm.
outcomes.
Let's
Because
put that in this hypnotic programming that we can create, or we'll offer like a workshop for the like activate your American spirit hypnosis workshop or
yeah,
hypnosis
activate
audio.
your American spirit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. The
that's
whole
right.
world needs this. Get up on
Yes,
your horse and run into the fight and say, hoorah, I'm going to kick some ass. I'm going to kick
yeah,
some bad guy ass. And I'm going to
yeah,
do it in a lawful way. We are
yes,
still abiding by the laws
of
here.
course. And
The
we're
American
peaceful.
Constitution protects our right and our obligation to defend the Constitution. It is
Yes,
very lawful to
yes.
defend the laws of our land.
That's right. That's right. We should be clear that we're not advocating any kind of violence or any kind of, kind of immoral disruption, but we are saying, why don't you stand up for what America is supposed to represent, which is individual rights,
Freedom.
human freedoms, and the freedom to not be exploited, and the protection of children, and law and order. Isn't every Western about law and order? And we're in a situation where the government that runs America is lawless.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's got to stop because
yeah.
they're not just fraudulent. Like it's kind of, I don't know if you know this, but among wealthy people like millionaires and billionaires, they don't even look at fraud as a crime. It's just like, yeah, everybody's doing fraud, whatever. It's like the way that wealthy people look at cocaine. It's like, whatever. It's just a little coke. It's just a little fraud. It's like this is so far beyond what was the old paradigm of, oh, our government is, they don't have to follow the same laws as everybody else. Like, no, this isn't a little fraud or a little cocaine. Okay, this is abusing children and trafficking small children and harming children just for fun. No, no, no. That's what we need to stop. That's what needs to be stopped. If every single American cannot galvanize around this single issue, what will it take to unite us? If this won't do it, it's got to be this. What else is there? It's
I
time
mean,
to
and the
be
fact
reunited.
that the president is likely in the Epstein files 1 million times. I mean, every other political scandal in history is if you're associated strongly with something amoral and
Instant
unethical,
resignation, you're done.
or at the very least, you step back. until we clear the air, at the very least. But the fact that you have 1 million times in the files, add to that that the president acts like a lunatic, is not in good health, is dangerous to the world, is contemplating invading places all over the world
For fun,
for fun without
if he
any,
wants to.
yeah, just because he wants to, without any, like a king, without the approval of Congress, without any oversight.
Yeah.
That is something that Americans should not abide.
Yeah. So getting pissed off and calling your representatives, you have to get on the phone. Like old school, like pick up the phone and dial it. And it goes ring, ring. And then a human being on the other side answers. And you're like, I want to talk to the person in charge about this ICE detention center that they're trying to bring to my city. This is happening in Orlando. You know this? You know that I spoke at city council?
Yeah.
Started doing things I've never done before, like calling congressmen and calling my governor and calling senators and leaving voicemails like, stop this. Stop fucking doing this. Do not let this happen. Your job is to protect us and protect us. I'm like yelling into phones at people. What is this, the 90s? But it makes a difference. It makes a
Completely. And
difference.
I would take it one step further. This is the year, a lot of people, for a good reason actually, decide to stay out of the public domain. And that's because they recognize that it's acrimonious, that you can get tarnished, that you get pushback. It's, your friends, you might lose some friends.
Welcome.
But this is the time. If there was a time to step forward, to step up, to say something, this is the time. When is the time?
I'm doing it. That's exactly how I feel. That's why we're here having this conversation right now.
Yeah, this is not necessarily good for business for the work we're in. Maybe,
I think it is. I think it's great for business. If somebody like, oh, Cassandra got political, she doesn't want pedophiles in the world anymore.
Yeah.
You know what? Plenty of people are happy to pay me to help them transform their minds and lives, and I'm doing just fine. If you're protecting pedophiles, I don't want your business. I don't even want it. I won't take your money. How about that?
The general point here is that maybe there's been other times where things have been more foggy. Maybe it wasn't the time to do something, but now is the time. There's never been a time that's more clear. The midterms are a factor. There's a bunch of other, maybe they don't even matter compared to what has come out in the Epstein files and everything else, and what's been happening in American history lately, that this is the time. There is no fudging it. That if history was asking you to step up and be human, this is the moment. We know what happens. We don't, it's funny, people said that, during the rise of Nazism, people didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know the horrors that would be unleashed.
We know.
We know. We know. And we have the evidence, arbitrary executions in public. We have concentration camp type situations. That's already happening. It's well documented. Look it up if you don't believe it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I need to cool down.
To recap, in order to handle appropriately, and appropriately means with action, in order to appropriately handle the reality that we as adults have to deal with right now, it's our collective shared reality. We need to have a mindset of being empowered, that your voice matters, and it is now time to use it. And you now use your voice to advocate for the things you truly believe in and to speak out against those which you know are wrong. To be empowered, to use your voice, to use your presence, to use your influence, to choose that when you're out to dinner with some friends, it's no longer the good old days of polite society where we don't talk about. Now we talk about. Because other people need to be galvanized as we are now, with the spirit of, you have the power to do something. I don't know. No one person's going to change the world. It's all of us getting together and saying, I and you have the power to do something meaningful, to create a positive change and save our planet and save ourselves. And we're going to do it. That's the mindset that we need to be empowered.
Exactly. And the hypnosis part of it is it's the pictures inside your head that really start to matter. If you're in a fight, I'll give this a simple metaphor. If you had, God forbid, you had to fight somebody physically and you had pictures of them clobbering you, knocking you down, knocking your teeth out, you lying on the ground crying and bleeding, those pictures would undermine your ability to win the fight and might
That's
ensure
right.
that you don't. You
That's right.
need to run a movie of you knocking them down, knocking their, yeah, you do it. Yes. Yeah.
See yourself as glorious and victorious.
I like that. Glorious and victorious as you
Glorious
rightly
and
deserve.
victorious.
That's right. And get rid of the voices in your head saying you can't do it. Get rid of the imagery in your head that says there's going to be a disaster. Focus on success, focus on victory. You are allowed to do it. You are fighting a righteous battle, and you have the right to
And you're not
succeed.
alone. We're here fighting this righteous battle with you. So go ahead and connect. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, websites, have a consultation. You know, it's not so easy to simply say, I just replace the imagery in your head. If it's been a program that's been running for decades since childhood, you're going to want to do some deep one-on-one work with a skilled hypnotherapist
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
change that internal thing, just willing it to be so. Good on you, but it's not the most effective path. In fact, it's quite ineffective. But just 1, 2, 3 sessions of hypnotherapy, you can completely transform what you're working with upstairs and become much more empowered and take bigger action and make a bigger impact and be somebody you're proud to be.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. These techniques work for a reason. There's a reason why you need hypnotic trance to get access to deep-seated memory, to the cop inside your head, or even the loser inside your head. That you need to change those movies.
Cheerleaders and angels,
Yes,
transform those.
yes, that's right. And ancestors, your ancestors who believe in you, your American ancestors who fought for freedom, who fought
That's
against
right.
slavery, who fought for individual rights, who fought for a better country, a better world. Those people are believing in you right now, and you can do it.
Yes, and we're here to help. So I'm very inspired to want to make this audio file. We can either do it together collaboratively, Albert, you and I, or I could just take it upon myself. But I'm excited by that. Activate Your American Spirit hypnosis audio coming soon.
We
I'm
can,
fired up. I
we
think
can,
with that, we've given our beautiful audience and listeners
enough of a harangue.
hopefully you're feeling inspired and you're about to call your congressman. I mean, Google it, like Google your local news and see what pisses you off the most and then call somebody about it. That's your homework.
That's right. My most important suggestion is this is the time, this is the year for you to get
Not the
socially
year,
involved.
the day,
The
today,
day.
not tomorrow,
Yeah.
now. Yesterday,
And
actually, but we'll work with what we got.
you work with what we got. Exactly. And I was going to say a good slogan for your hypnosis thing would be "Make America Great Again." I'm just joking, but I thought "Make America America Again" would be useful because
Make
America.
Americans American again.
Yeah, because America's not supposed to stand for this shit. America's not supposed to put up with this. America's not supposed to let this happen. America has plenty left of gas left. Yeah, maybe we are driving off the cliff, but we can also turn the wheel.
Yeah, we got to grab the wheel. We got to grab the wheel and turn this shit around.
That's right. Well said. That's probably a good place to
Woo!
wind it up.
I'm fired up. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I'm going to City Hall. I'm going to give them hell.
All right, give them hell.
We'll talk again next week. Everybody
Sure.
else, make sure you're following us. If you want to do some one-on-one hypnotherapy, you can find me at hypnotherapy.now.
I'm Albert Nuremberg Hypnosis, and yeah, that's it.
See you soon.
All right, sayonara.
Give 'em hell.